Hi guys, and welcome back to another True Crime Japan video. Alright, this story is extremely disturbing, and honestly the more I researched into it and read more about this case, it kind of made me feel even more sick the more I kind of dug into it. I had heard about this case briefly on the internet, like I'd read about it, but I didn't know the extent of the crimes, so we're going to get into that in this video today. So this is the story of the Kobe killer, or the Kobe child killer, in 1997. It included the deaths of 10-year-old Ayaka Yamashita and 11-year-old Jun Hase. So the culprit in this case, to everyone's shock and absolute horror, was a junior high school student, a 14-year-old boy. This case was actually the driving force behind Japan lowering the criminal responsibility age from 16 down to 14, but at this time he was still considered a minor, so he got those privileges, if you want to call it that. So he was known as Boy A, and his name was not released to the public at the time, but since then his real name has been released, and his name is, I'm not sure if I should be saying this, but his name is Shinichiro Azuma. But he was also known as Seito Sakakibara and Onibara. We'll talk about those names further into the video. So let's get into it. So not much is known about Azuma's life prior to these attacks and murders, but he was mentally unstable. He had mental issues. He had committed many acts of animal torture and cruelty by the age of 12. He would line up frogs. I don't know how, but he would line up frogs and he would run over them on his bicycle for fun. And he'd also catch like birds and pigeons and like chop off their heads, and cats. He would dissect cats and leave them around the neighborhood. Obviously no one knew that was him at the time, but that's what he would do. He also started to bring cutting weapons while still in elementary school, and he wrote in his diary that he could ease his irritation when he was holding a survival knife, or when he was kind of like swinging scissors on his finger pretending it was a gun. Like that gave him relief or comfort in a way. As Azuma advanced to junior high school, he had become bored of killing cats and other animals, and he gradually found himself fantasizing about how it would feel to murder human beings like himself. At this time, he was receiving a lot of pressure from his mother to excel in school. He was the firstborn, and of course his parents wanted him to do well in school, and yeah, being in Japan, it's even more pressure because of the education system and all that, and there's a lot of pressure on students here in this country. But he was not a good student by any means. He was actually quite a bad student. He got bad grades, and actually a social worker during this time had warned his parents that he was mentally ill. He was not stable mentally, but his parents kind of looked past that for some reason. Maybe they were kind of deluded or just didn't really see that in their own son. You know, sometimes that can happen. You know, they think they're the golden child and they can never think that anything is too wrong, or maybe they're just too focused on his grades. I don't know what was up with that, but there was a warning from a social worker. So on February 10th, 1997, Azuma attacked 2 children with a hammer or a metal object of some sort, and one of these children had to be hospitalized for 2 weeks. Azuma was in his school uniform when he carried out these attacks, and one of the victims recognized what school he went to. So her father went to the school and talked to the principal and said, look, my daughter was attacked by someone at your school. I need to look at your photo booth, your photo book of all of your students, so my daughter can identify who this person was. But the principal refused, and he said, no, you cannot do that. I assume because of privacy issues or something like that. But it's really weird because you'd think that the police would be involved and they would be asking to look at the pictures, but maybe the police didn't want to get involved because they didn't want to create any kind of like messy situation where the girl misidentified someone or something like that. But that's very interesting to me. So he carried out his first 2 attacks. No one died, thankfully. But on March 16th, 1997, Azuma attacked 2 other school children around lunchtime. The first victim was named Ayaka Yamashita, who was 10 years old. She was hit in the head with a steel pipe or a hammer, I'm not sure which one. And the second victim was 9 years old and was stabbed in the stomach with a knife. Both victims were hospitalized, and unfortunately Yamashita actually died from her head injuries about a week later. The other victim was in hospital for about 2 weeks but did survive. So that was the first death from his actions. And after the March 16th attacks, Azuma wrote in his diary, and I quote, "I carried out sacred experiments today to confirm how fragile human beings are. I brought the hammer down when the girl turned to face me. I think I hit her a few times, but I was too excited to remember." And then the following week on March 23rd, he added, "This morning my mum told me in speech, 'Poor girl, the girl's attacks seem to have died.'" And then he continued, "There is no sign of me getting caught. I thank you, Seito Sakakibara, for this. Please continue to protect me." I think the Bama Moidisin or whatever means like God or something. I think that translates to God or something. But anyway, 2 months later, on May 27th, Azuma abducted a special education student who went to an elementary school nearby. His name was Jun Hase and he was 11 years old. Just seeing his picture makes my heart break, just knowing what has happened to him. He looks so full of life and it literally destroys my heart. And it's all about to get very worse for you guys when you find out exactly what happened. So just be prepared for some quite disturbing details to follow. So Azuma apparently led him astray and strangled Hase to death, and then beheaded him with a handsaw and did further mutilations to his body. Then he hid the body up by like an oil tanker type thing on a hill, and then he took the head and either went to his home or a public bathroom. I'm not too sure about that information. And yeah, he locked himself in the bathroom, and this is like really disturbing to say, and I'm really sorry that I have to put this on camera, but this is what happened, and I quote, "Where he locked himself in and committed a deed far more heinous than murder with the head." So I'm sure you guys can piece together that without me directly saying what happened. And yes, it is what you're thinking. So, oh my god. Like, I literally just can't even believe this happened. Like, I really can't. Anyway, let's continue. At about 1 a.m. that night, Azuma headed to Tomogaoka Junior High School with Hase's head, and he left his head at the entrance of the school, then went home. Hase had been reported missing that night. The discovery of Hase's head was discovered by the school janitor, I believe, long before any students started arriving at school. Obviously that would have been a very disturbing sight indeed. And a note written in red pen was found in Hase's mouth, identifying the killer as Sakakibara Seito. These kanji characters can also be translated to, in English, alcohol, devil, rose, saint, and fight. The note had a message on it as well. I will read it out. Obviously it was in Japanese, but this is the English translation. "This is the beginning of the game. You police guys, stop me if you can. I desperately want to see people die. It is a thrill for me to commit murder. A bloody judgment is needed for my years of great bitterness. The community and the entire country was in a complete uproar. None of their children were safe with a killer on the loose who was threatening to kill more people. And then on June 6th, the city's newspaper, the Kobe Shinbun, received an unnamed envelope from the killer. Enclosed was a 3-page, 1,400-word letter written in red ink, which again included his name, Sakakibara Seito. The letter included the following. Again, of course it was in Japanese, but this is the English translation. Now, it's the beginning of a game. I am putting my life at stake for the sake of this game. If I'm caught, I'll probably be hanged. Police should be angrier and more tenacious in pursuing me. It's only when I kill that I am liberated from the constant hatred that I suffer and that I am able to attain peace. It is only when I give pain to people that I can ease my own pain. This letter also lashed out against the Japanese educational system, calling it compulsory education that formed me, an invisible person. After this letter, the newspaper released his name, but they made a mistake and actually reported his name as Onibara, which means demon's rose in English. This name spread like wildfire, obviously, and Azuma was not happy about it. He wrote to the police station this time and said, "From now on, if you misread my name or spoil my mood, I will kill 3 vegetables a week. If you think I can only kill children, you are greatly mistaken." So by vegetables he meant like special people. But on June 28th, Azuma was arrested for Hase's murder. No one really knows how the police managed to track him to the murders, but I assume either it was from some kind of tracking with the post, or perhaps they really did identify him through the school yearbook from the child who was attacked 2 or 3 months earlier. I don't know, that's just what I think. But anyway, no one knows how he was caught, but he was arrested and he admitted to the murder of Hase, and he also admitted to the attack of Yamashita, who died, as well as the 3 other attacks on the school children. But like I said at the start of the video, he was considered a minor throughout this trial, so he was treated as such. He was not identified and was called Boy A throughout the trial. I think even to this day he's technically or legally not allowed to be identified, but there's a lot of news outlets spreading his name and picture, so I don't know. But anyway guys, when you guys hear about what he was sentenced and how it all played out, you guys are gonna be outraged. I think it's the biggest, like, I don't even know what the word is, but like the misjudgment of crime. It's disgusting. So let's just get into it. Since he was a minor, he apparently can't be responsible for what he did, apparently, even though he knew exactly what he was doing. But anyway, he was charged for his crimes and he was sent to a juvenile detention center. And on March 11th, 2004, remember this happened in 1997, so March, he was released on probation, and he was then fully released to the public without no probation. He was a free man on the 1st of 2005. So in total he spent 7 years in a juvenile detention center for the crimes that he did. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. I'm sure you are too. So after he was released, he was in contact with family members, especially his dad, but they haven't heard from him in a long time now. I've seen things on the internet that maybe he's in Matsuyama or maybe even Saitama, but no one knows where he is. But yeah, he was out after only 7 years and he was only 21 when he was released. That is so young. He's got his whole life in front of him. Like, it was like he never went to jail. He was only 21 when he was released. Insanity. Insanity. So he is now, or was, living under another identity, working as a day labourer, I believe. And in 2005 he released a book about the attacks and the murders. This book was met with a whole lot of backlash. in part that the victim's family didn't want to relive this nightmare through the words and the kind of celebration of his book. For sure, I definitely understand that. I would not want the killer of my son or my daughter to release a book. Like, no, you know? So, yeah. And secondly, he would receive all the royalties to the book. So the book went ahead, and he did receive all of the royalties. And I think he made like $100,000 just from the first release of the book. So he made a lot of money. Gross. And then I'm not sure when exactly, but he created a website about himself and introducing himself and all that. And he shared his writings and also uploaded weird art pictures. It's most likely that he is the person in these pictures, even though the face is covered, but just super weird. Like, it actually gave me the creeps, these pictures, when I first saw them. But yeah, that's the end of this True Crime Japan video today, guys. He is out there somewhere. At the present day, he is 37 years old. So young. So young. Considering this happened in 1997 and he was released at 21 years old, you know. And I'm actually worried about it because he said on his website that he still suffers with delusions. Like, he imagines things. That's very concerning. So I wonder if he's like, is he married now or is he living in isolation? But either way, I'm just really worried about it, and I feel like it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. He's obviously got mental issues and he fantasizes about things that are dangerous to society. So I really do think it's a ticking time bomb for sure. It's only a matter of time before he's going to do something like this again, in my opinion. But yeah, this case shocked me so hard. Absolutely devastating. Rest in peace to the victims in this case. Oh, seriously, bless. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I'm so sorry to the families. Oh my God. It always hits different when it's kids involved. Whew. And I can't believe a kid did this to another kid, and barely any remorse. I don't think there's any remorse at all, even to this day. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this True Crime Japan video. If you're interested in any other True Crime Japan videos, please check out my channel because I do have a playlist of them. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.